Hi guys, it's Colleen from CM Soul 1111. I hope you're all doing well. This isn't going to be a video with a tarot reading in it, guys. I just wanted to touch base with all of my subscribers because I haven't uploaded any videos last week, and that's because I had hospital the back end of the week, and then I've spent this weekend resting up, and I'm still not quite 100%, but I do intend to get the videos up this week at some point over the next sort of 2 or 3 days. And I felt, because my channel's not big enough, I can't do posts like some of the bigger tarot readers can do to let you know what's happening, and I felt a duty of care and a responsibility to just kind of keep you guys informed so you don't feel like I've just stopped uploading. I haven't, but at the moment I think I've shared on a few of the videos that I've been going through a pretty tough time with my health, and it's been the biggest shock of my life so far, aside of spiritual awakening. But I wanted to kind of have an open and honest video with no real clear format, but just as a way of courtesy and for a way for you guys to kind of get to know me a bit better, and also to kind of share with people who could be going through the same thing as me, but also to share with you the similarities that life's curveballs can have when it comes to sort of spiritual awakening and learning more about yourself during this process. Excuse me. As a person, I think I've explained on a few videos, a few of my videos, that I'm typically quite masculine brain, very logical, black and white, really sort of ruled with logic rather than emotion, and I never found the grey area or the grey matter of emotion comfortable. And I believe that you meet people in life, or circumstances and things can happen in your life, and these can trigger awakenings within you, and these can be minor or major awakenings that can completely, in the space, in the blink of an eye and in the space of a 24-hour period, change your perception on the world completely. For me, over the years I've had a large number of experiences, from meeting soul connections to, I don't know, family drama, whatever it may well be, that have caused certain awakenings within me. And I really am sorry if there is no real structure to this video, but I just kind of felt there were a few things that I wanted to share, just in case it reached out, to any one of you that watch my videos. I am by no means the finished article. I absolutely love my tarot. I love sharing my readings with you guys, and I'm honestly grateful for every single person that's clicked that subscribe button so far. Honestly, I really am. I think when you go through a process of awakening, be that triggered by a twin flame connection or by anything else that's happened in your life, the process can be quite lonely. So connecting with other souls that are on this journey is always a wonderful thing, and hearing your feedback and engaging in communication with you guys and sharing your story helps make the situation feel somewhat normal, because I think you can feel fairly alienated in this process. And there's been a lot of sort of cross comparisons with meeting soul connections versus, or twin flames versus health issues in my case this year that have caused and triggered different levels of awakening within you. And I kind of wanted to share a few things with you in the hope that maybe some of you resonate with this. And like I said, there is no real structure to what I'm saying. It's just more going to be off the cuff and from the heart. But I've been suffering with my health since October last year, and in about February this year the doctor started doing tests, and that's been happening since then. In the last, I think it's about 5 or 6 weeks, I've had my license revoked, and this channel I do out of love and soul expression, and I'm a bit of a creative person, so I need a creative outlet. And for me, this channel was set up in a way to try and reach out to others that are going through an awakening process, regardless of what that catalyst is, and for me to be able to kind of share my story, be that with the tarot cards or be that in a general video. And I kind of wanted to reach out to each and every one of you and share my story, so that maybe some of you might relate and actually say, I'm normal. Because I think, the symptoms and the processes and the thought patterns that you go through, if you're somebody that is typically governed by logic rather than intuition, it can be incredibly stressful, because you're sort of deconstructing everything that you've, all the foundations in which you built your life on, to suddenly have to rebuild them. And I'm an Aries. I can be quite fiery. I'm love and light, but I can be a little bit hot-headed. And you know, I do my best to be a good person and you know, I don't know, love and care for the people that are in my life well, you know, live honestly. And I've always had to be a fairly resilient person. You know, I'm 35, I've lived on my own since I was 16. And, you know, strength and courage are things that I think you need in life to get through. But they're also the same two things that you need to get through an awakening process. And also it takes huge strength and massive courage to just surrender. You know, and for me as a person, I suffered with OCD. It was my way of having calm amidst the chaos of life. I've been a million miles an hour my whole life and never really stopped to consider the impact that stress was having on me as a person. And I always felt completely and utterly invincible. I felt that, you know, everything made sense if it fitted in a box, and that, I don't know, I don't know, I felt invincible. And when you have a situation where meeting your twin flame, any sort of catalyst when it comes to your health, losing your job, you know, whatever the catalyst is for you to stop and reflect and sort of start deconstructing the foundations in which you built your life upon, that process is incredibly terrifying, whether you follow your intuition or you don't. And the journey for everybody is completely unique. But when you can resonate with others that have been through it, it does help to kind of stabilize the situation and make you feel a little less abnormal, because I know that's how I felt with being a logical minded person. I thought at points I was completely and utterly crazy, and I have done most of my life, I think, because I think deep down I've always been a highly intuitive person. I think I just ignored it, you know, suppressed it and used logic as my guide. But unfortunately logic can't always give you the answers to everything in life, and sometimes you have to just take that, you know, be the fool card and take that leap of faith and recognize that actually not having the answers to everything, not having a plan B because this could happen, not needing to control everything in your life, whilst that can be utterly terrifying, and truthfully it's something I have hugely struggled with. I thought I had it cracked the beginning of this year, and then when my health took a turn, I spiraled in a really big way, because I realised that it didn't matter how many tests were being done and how many things were being ruled in or ruled out, I didn't have the answers. And when it was having such a massive impact on my life daily, I really struggled, even up to yesterday, to kind of try and contemplate and comprehend exactly what it is I'm going through and why. And my nature as a person isn't to sort of sit there and feel like a victim. I've always been a bit of a fighter, so it's kind of, instead of why me, it's try me. But after months of sort of being in daily pain and having my patience and my resilience tested, you know, I set up my Instagram page originally as a way to kind of have a creative and positive outlet during this period of health issues. I used it as a way to sort of sense check quotes 3 times a day to kind of motivate myself and keep myself on track. However, even the most strongest of souls can still have bad days, and I've had to learn this year that sometimes it's okay to not be okay, and that, again, when you're a proud person that is still partially governed by ego, it's been tough. And losing my driving license because of my seizures, and trying to run a business as a director of a company here in the UK, it was terrifying. And not just that, where I'd been so fiercely independent, I was so used to doing things without thinking and just being a go-getter that it occurred to me during this process that I wasn't very good at asking for help. And I realised that I needed to heal that part of me, which is why I don't mind asking people to take me to appointments and stuff. But for somebody that still, clearly there was an element of pride there with me, I needed to kind of shed that part of my ego to be at peace with it. And I had another realisation this morning, and this is what the purpose of this video really is today, is that during the process of awakening, be that soul connections, twin flames, health, losing your job, whatever the catalyst is for you to start your awakening process, one of the stages in this, in it, which is commonly written about anywhere, is surrender. And honestly, so far for me, this has been the one that I have struggled with the most, because again, I've explained I'm this black and white, predominantly masculine brained person who is a go-getter and has never even stopped to consider the possibility of just releasing control. And I found that being resilient was also something that was relevant to my ego as well, and that was something that I needed to shed, because just because I'm not able to sustain the former lifestyle that I had at this moment in time, it doesn't make me any less of a person. And this has been something that's, you know, really triggered huge insecurities within me, and in turn, as in a sort of almost in a byproduct way, it's making me hold on and need to know an answer more. And in my fear of really letting go to the outcome because of this huge impact that it's had on my life daily, I realised today, this morning, when my partner messaged me and said that it had upset her seeing me so upset yesterday, I realised in that moment that I'd been letting this situation get the better of me. And I've you know, contemplated this quite a bit today before I've done this video, because I'm not really sure whether any of you are even interested in this, you know, but even if it reaches one person that's going through something similar to me, then it's worth it. But I realised today that in not releasing my need to control what was wrong with me, to know what was happening, to have to still try and maintain my life, run my business, and, you know, run at a speed that my body physically right now can't keep up with. I realised in that moment, from that one message, that I have tried to control everything. And even though I'm trying to control it because I feel being prepared for the worst is better than walking into a doctor's room and being told something and not being prepared, because I don't want to be weak and cry in front of a doctor. How utterly ridiculous. And what I've realised is that I've been driving myself crazy with all of the probabilities and the possibilities, because I still haven't healed that part of me that needs to control the outcome. I still haven't healed that part of me that needs to be prepared for every possible eventuality, so that I'm not in a place of what I perceive in my ego weakness. But actually, I've also learned, and interestingly, a good friend of mine called me up last week when I was having a bit of a bad day, and he said, do you know what, sweetheart, you can stress about this all day long, but the outcome is going to be what the outcome is. Whether you stress or you don't, what's going to be will be. And I thought, oh, you know, that's sound advice, and it kind of calmed me down that one day, and then it kind of disappeared out of my brain. And today, after having months of feeling like absolute dog shit, excuse my language, but I have felt crap, I realised that I still hadn't entirely healed that part of me. So when you talk about twin flames and having to surrender to the connection, and you talk about life and releasing the need to hold on with that Four of Pentacles energy, for the last however many months, I've actually been doing that when it comes to the scenario of my health and my work. And in essence, that's been incredibly damaging to me, almost like a form of self-harm. And today, that one text message from my partner was what I call them penny drop moments, where, you know, oh, okay, now that makes sense. That was my penny drop moment today, because actually I realised that what my friend said last week, whether I worry about it or I don't, the outcome is going to be what it's going to be. And I can't control that, no matter how much I try, or how much I put myself under pressure, or how much I beat myself up. I am not in control of the outcome. So it's hypocritical of me to say to everybody, you know, surrender to the outcome of your twin flame union, but only apply that to one part of your life and not all of it. So my commitment to you guys today is that surrender is releasing, it's letting go, and trusting that what is meant for you will be there for you. So whilst I'm ill, and every single day can be at points incredibly rough for me, I have to surrender to the outcome, because no matter how much I cry or I stress, I can't change it. So for me, there is similarities here when it comes to the twin flame connection, or whether it's a bad relationship. And I need to practice what I preach and say that I trust that whatever's meant for me when it comes to my health or my business, which has at points suffered this year because I've not been well, you know, I'm running on 50% of what I used to be able to. And talking to you guys and doing my tarot readings is a wonderful escape in the moments that I'm doing those videos, which is why I love doing it and why I'm so sorry that I haven't put anything up last week. But also, it's good to talk, and it's good to reflect, and it's good to pause, because even though I knew what I was doing was wrong, I wasn't asking myself the question of what is this trying to teach me? And all this anxiety and all of this stress where I'd convinced myself one thing was wrong with me, and then I go and have the test on Thursday and it's all normal. And again, I had a small moment there where I realised, you know, these tests are ruling things out, not ruling things in. So what good has all that brain space been on trying to control it? And the principle works the same with your twin flame connection, your job, your partner, your wife, whatever the scenario is that you will relate to on this. But the key lesson in all of this is actually is learning to let go. Because, you know, my partner's nan, she says a saying, don't sweat the small stuff, you know, and that's her way of saying, you know what will be will be. Things will transpire as they need to. So today, my commitment to myself and everybody else that loves me and cares about me is that what will be will be. And I have complete and utter faith that whatever is destined for me, be that with my business, be that with my YouTube channel, be that with my health, I believe there's nothing put in front of me that I'm not strong enough to overcome. So if that is a true saying that I tell myself every single day, why am I not living that? And it's fear. And fear is a thought process surrounding something that hasn't even happened yet. It's all in the mind. And yet, you control your mind doesn't control you. I have been, honestly, in meditations, I've struggled to connect with myself, I've struggled to simmer down, and I felt like someone this year has kicked me out of a plane and I've just been free falling and I don't know where the fuck I'm going to land. And I've realised that actually, whilst through my process of this awakening that's happened over the last sort of 2-3 years, I thought I'd learnt to surrender. I actually hadn't learned to surrender in a scenario whereby it was concerning my health. So it's really strange to me and interesting how you can heal one area of your life, but actually another situation will present itself and you deal with it with the coping strategies that you had pre your awakening. And the lesson for me today is that you need to ask yourself this question: when something happens in your life, what is it trying to teach me? Because what this has taught me is all the work I've spent on awakening and learning to reconnect with myself and all these wonderful tools that I've enabled myself and armed myself with. When the shit hit the fan, I'd forgotten them all. And, you know, I guess I'm human. I guess it makes me normal, you know, and I hope at least. But, you know, realistically speaking, these skills that you learn during awakening are principles and coping strategies and behaviours and responses instead of reactions, are responses that are premeditated and proactive rather than reactive ones. And I think when a situation causes you to feel fear, that is a real big sort of breeding ground for anxiety. And again, what you've, thoughts become things. So if you're sending out anxiety and negativity and fear into the universe without even realising that you're doing it, because that's what I've been doing, and actually I'm the magician right now, I've got all the tools to do the job with this. I just didn't realise that my mental headspace when it came to this particular topic of my health was really suffering. And actually, I've got all the tools to change this. I just didn't see what was happening. And it took this sort of momentary message this morning for me to kind of come to the realization that I've actually been torturing myself. And in trying to hold on, it's a bit like having a tug of war with a rope, and you're holding on, but that person's still winning, but you've got all of the, you know, the rope burns on your hands, but you're still not letting go. That's what I've been doing to myself for the past 4 months. Not seeing that it was completely and utterly counterproductive, and actually the complete opposite of everything I'd learned. Even whilst doing my YouTube videos, I talked to you about surrender, releasing control to the outcome. What's destined for you is for you. But I hadn't applied that same principle to this one area of my life. And I kind of just wanted to share that with you guys, because when we talk about surrender, it does mean to literally let go. Let go. I feel like I have been on a treadmill, and I'm not going to beat myself up for getting this so wrong, because I think when you're scared, which I have been, and I am, I think your brain can play tricks on you. And again, when you're typically a person that needs to have answers and be prepared for all scenarios, I don't know, my head was controlling me with this subject. I wasn't controlling my mind. And I'm in charge of my mind. And so are all of you. So regardless of what context this may resonate with you guys on, just remember that if something is causing you distress, ask yourself, what is it trying to teach you about yourself and how you deal with things? Because life isn't what happens to you, it's how you deal with it that matters. And actually, I could have done better with this whole situation. But when you're scared, I think that can consume your mind. And again, this is an opportunity for me to heal another aspect of my personality, and that is that I still have this profound need to control things from time to time, and that actually there are going to be different situations that crop up in your life that are going to cause you to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And for me, I've learned that I am not the most fluid when it comes to going with the ebb and flow of life and the different curveballs it can throw you. I want to be that person. I want to be in a position where, you know, I feel completely and utterly calm, completely and utterly centered, and whatever's thrown at me, I have the tools and the ability to respond and not react. And I feel that almost like when something like fear is involved, like holding on to your twin flame connection because you're terrified of losing that magic, or holding on to a marriage that, you know, is not right, but you're terrified of being on your own, or terrified of leaving a job because you've been there for 13 years and, you know, you don't know what an interview process is going to be like. Whatever those situations are, when fear is the overriding emotion or feeling, it can really skew your take on reality. You know, it really, really can. And I suppose strength is feeling those feelings and allowing you to feel that fear, but also releasing that fear with a calm approach. Everything is, I don't know, allowed to flow through you. And I've had a blockage for the last 4 months, and I didn't even know it until this morning. So, you know, I guess, you know, the ego doesn't disintegrate easily, and sometimes you don't realise you're being in ego surrounding certain situations in your life until you really do sit down and contemplate where the hell your head's at. And for me, I guess I've needed, it's strange. I think when you feel out of control of a situation, I think again, you know, another lesson with this is that the ego will manically try and find a way for you to control it without you even knowing, because it's, I call them impulse reactions. You know, these are impulse, emotional or mental responses to circumstances that come up in your life. So if it's an impulse thing, it means that you hasn't even hit your brain. It's just an automatic response, you know. But actually, if you pause long enough, and I don't think I have done, I think where this has had such an impact on me, I genuinely don't think I've given myself time to just pause and really figure my shit out. And I feel, I can't tell you, a relief of 4 months of baggage I never even knew I was carrying on my shoulders, you know. And sometimes I think we can carry baggage around with us without even knowing it's there, without even knowing. So my darlings, if there's any advice that I could give you is, if there is unrest or any anxiety or bad feeling in your gut about something that's going on with your life, check yourself. Ask yourself, what is it trying to teach you about yourself? Can you do anything to change your thought processes or your impulse reaction and change that to a controlled, felt out, thought out response? Because I think the ego can slip in and you don't even know it's there. I really, really do. And today's been a huge lesson for me, that I still have issues surrounding new topics that come up and needing to control them. And I think deep down, if everybody was honest, they'd probably say the same thing. You know, the process of awakening and your spiritual journey is exactly that. It's yours. It's unique to you. There's no rule book on how to do this. But my intuition has been kicking my ass. You know, I've felt so out of whack for months. And there's a reason. Because my heart and head were not saying the same things. I was coming from a place of fear, a place of lack. Not a place of gratitude, you know, or calmness. And I think sometimes, guys, you just got to stop. Have no noise. Declutter your mind. Figure out what it is that's affecting you. Because regardless of what's going on, each and every one of us have got this. You know, we're humans, we make mistakes. But I am, as of today, feeling far clearer, mentally, emotionally and spiritually, that whatever's destined for me, I've got it. And so have each and every one of you. But that process of letting go it's not easy. But I promise you this, once you do realise that you're holding on too tight and you're getting those road burns on your hands, and you realise that the simplest solution to bring you some calmness and stability for yourself is in letting go and trusting that the universe has got your back one way or the other. I apologise for my rambling. I hope that maybe even one of you may have resonated with this. And like I said, I will be uploading more videos later on this week. But yeah, I wish you all love and light. And thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.